Hello, Shoyan here. Today I'm building a fall prevention pony wall in the staircase area, another one to the second floor overlook, and a table in front of it. I always sharpen my pencils with a chisel. You may wonder whether sharpening pencils this way dulls the chisel blade. When I was younger, I used a pencil called 2H High Uni with a gold ring, whose lead is thin and hard. If I had used those hard pencils, it might have dulled the blade slightly. It's nostalgic. Now, I can't see the thin lines those pencils make because of my eyesight. Hard pencils leave marks even after erasing, so it's harder to clean up. So instead, I'm using soft and bold pencils that require sharpening 5 times more often than the harder pencils I used back in the day. The fall prevention pony wall for this house is an older style, about 30 years old. It's 900 millimeters high and features a horizontal timber like a chamois. It could be called a handrail or top rail, but I'll install them like a chamois and then trim on the side. In this house, there is an exposed pillar in the center, so I can't run the top rail as a single continuous piece. So, only the trim made of thin timber will seamlessly surround the pony wall, which will be installed 15 millimeters lower than the top rail. I will use the trim as a reference and frame the wall. The pony wall for this house is also 900 millimeters high. I first notched the exposed post at the same height and then installed the studs based on that notch. If I were to install the studs first, the shape of the wall would come together quickly, but notching the exposed pillar afterward becomes much more challenging. It's better to notch the pillar first and frame the wall for easy installation. For this type of design, the top rail could be called daiwa or kasagi in Japanese. Only one side will be joined to the exposed pillar, so I first trace the pillar's shape. On the wall side, I slide the top rail from the side. On the corner, I join the top rail and corner stud with a miter joint. If the trim surrounds the pony wall, a miter joint is essential for a clean finish because both the top rail and stud shouldn't be extended. For the external corner, I apply glue and use compression rods as usual to hold everything securely in place. There are modern tools for this, but nothing beats a good compression rod. That said, if there's nothing sturdy to brace the rod against, it won't work. For both window frames and door frames, traditional wood frame trim has become rare in modern homes. Nowadays, most homes use pre-made materials which are set with casings and doors or windows. Trims are often added as part of the casing, but the traditional trim work I'm doing today, which uses solid wood and cutting mortise and tenon, is hardly ever done anymore. The design is not bad, but it's a traditional construction method. Back in the day, every piece was cut and joined individually like this. It's more effort and it can be tricky, but this is how exposed woodwork was traditionally finished. The trim surrounds the corner of the top rail, which means there will be a lot of corners. I chamfer those corners as smoothly as possible, but they can still catch slightly. That's one drawback of using a miter joint. Now, the fall prevention pony wall is complete. Next, I build another pony wall on the Overlook. This wall is also 900 millimeters high and features a simple design. The top rail is a single 270 centimeter piece that spans the length of the space. I first frame the wall and then install the cap rail on it. These days, almost every modern home features open ceilings. Even smaller houses often include them. This space is also used as a shared space, equivalent in size to an 11 square meter room. It seems a bit of a waste to use such a space, but the open ceiling adds a spacious, airy feel, even in a compact home. On the inside of the pony wall, I'll install a surface that can be called either a study desk or a counter. The counter spans 270 centimeters, making it a versatile space ready for myriad uses. The counter is made from ash wood, with 3 or 4 30mm thick boards joined together to create a single surface. It's challenging to find a single solid board of this width, so joining smaller boards is the most practical solution. The furniture maker has already sanded the counter beautifully, but I finish rounding the upper front edge with a router. A rounded edge is ideal for study or computer desks. When your elbows rest on the edge, the rounded finish feels soft and doesn't hurt. So, I round the edge by chamfering more for extra comfort. Now I install the counter. As usual, I first apply glue to the ends of the boards to prevent cracking. This step really helps keep cracks from forming over time. The counter is positioned near a side window where strong sunlight streams in and reaches about halfway across the surface. With a large fixed window at the front, the room becomes a very bright space. The counter will be embedded into the wall and is clamped between the furring strips. Initially, the plan was to leave the middle of the counter unsupported, relying on the board's strength. But at 270 centimeters, it definitely wouldn't hold up without sagging. So I'm making a bracket for extra support at the side. The design of the brackets can be straight or curved, anything works. Since they're hidden underneath the counter, even a slim bracket like this is enough to make the counter strong enough to support weight, including someone sitting on it. Without brackets, even a board that's at least 45 millimeters thick would likely sag if leaned on. Brackets are such a clever solution to make the structure durable. To attach the brackets, I screw them in from the back and apply glue to ensure they're secure. Of course, I'll hide the screw heads with wooden plugs later. When cutting the back of the bracket, it's important to avoid a perfectly square cut. Instead, I cut it to an obtuse angle so that the front of the counter naturally tilts upward when installed. This ensures that even if the counter sags slightly over time, it will level out perfectly. Since the bracket is only held by screws, I use quite a few long screws to ensure it is firmly secured. I plug the screw holes with ash wood made from the same piece as the counter. These plugs are actually almost invisible, and only kids playing hide and seek under the counter would notice them. Children can study here with family members or sit on it. Since it's wide, it's versatile, so people can put computers on it or use it as a convenient surface for general everyday use. It'll be a handy space. Now, I've finished building the fall prevention pony wall in the staircase area and one to the second floor overlook, plus the counter in front of it. It could be used to study. It's such an inviting space. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.